The Emperor's Children, known as the Third Legion, are a remarkable and distinctive faction among the Chaos Space Marines. They are renowned for their unwavering commitment to perfection, not just in martial prowess, but also in aesthetics and the pursuit of the sublime. This obsession with perfection extends to every facet of their existence, from their battle strategies to their appearance. These warriors bear a multitude of honours and accolades, each earned through their exceptional feats on the battlefield. The Emperor's Children have established themselves as a force to be reckoned with, often achieving victory against enemies that vastly outnumber them. This success is not a result of brute force alone, but rather a product of their acute planning, unparalleled skill, and fluid execution of combat tactics. The Legion takes great pride in their ability to overcome challenges and obstacles, both on the battlefield and within themselves. They have faced trials that would have broken lesser warriors, emerging stronger and more determined to achieve greatness. However, their relentless pursuit of perfection has a darker side. As they strived for ever greater heights of achievement, the Emperor's Children succumbed to the seductive whispers of chaos. Their obsession with perfection and pleasure has led them deeper into the clutches of heresy, a descent that has estranged them from their former humanity. They have become slaves to their own desires, indulging in hedonistic pursuits that corrupt their souls and bind them more closely to the chaos god Slaanesh. The Emperor's Children, whose name is occasionally replaced with the ominous title Lords of Profligacy following their fall, were originally one of the proudest and most distinguished legions of the Imperium of Man, known as the Third Legion of Legions Astartes. They were unique among the Space Marine legions as they bore the Emperor's own name and his revered icon, the Palatine Aquila, personally granted to them as a symbol of their unparalleled martial excellence. In the annals of ancient Space Marine history, few legions received such a direct honour from the Emperor himself, giving them every reason to remain loyal to the master of mankind. These warriors embodied the Emperor's vision for the legions Astartes, excelling in nobility of action and appearance. They were paragons of strength, civility, unwavering purpose, and loyalty to the core of their being. Their reputation soared to unparalleled heights, and it seemed as if they had achieved the pinnacle of what the Emperor had intended for his superhuman warriors. However, the tragic turn of events saw them descend from this lofty perch into the depths of heresy. The Emperor's Children became ensnared by their own hubris, pride, and insatiable hedonistic desires that transcended the limits of natural pleasure. Their allegiance shifted entirely to the chaos god Slaanesh, the Prince of Pleasure, and they underwent a harrowing transformation. Today, the Emperor's Children exist as a fractured and scattered legion, reminiscent of their fellow traitor legion, the World Eaters. Chaos has torn their unity asunder, and now they operate as independent warbands of heretic Astartes, primarily located within the turbulent Eye of Terror. These warbands are dedicated to their own perverted pursuits, indulging in corrupt, hedonistic, and often murderous pleasures. One distinguishing aspect of the Emperor's Children under the influence of Slaanesh is their embrace of outlandish mutations and surgical alterations, viewed as gifts from their twisted patron. These alterations are aimed at making them more perfect in the eyes of Slaanesh, further distorting their once noble forms. In their current state, the Emperor's Children are driven by a singular purpose: to experience every possible sensation and push every extreme to its limit. Their warriors are wholly enthralled by the Dark Prince of Chaos, their desires and actions spiralling into ever greater depths of debauchery. It's a tragic tale of a legion that once aspired to perfection in the service of the Emperor, only to be ensnared by the seductive grasp of Slaanesh, leading them down a path of darkness and excess that severed their ties with humanity and loyalty to the Imperium. The history of the Emperor's Children is a tale steeped in the grim and complex annals of the 41st millennium. The saga begins with the infant Primarch of the Emperor's Children, who was raised on the desolate and decaying world of Chemos. This once thriving human mining colony had fallen into a state of decline as the era known as Older Night descended upon the domains of humanity. Isolated from neighbouring star systems, Chemos had become a silent wasteland, its mines abandoned and replaced by reclamation plants and vapour extraction facilities, the last vestiges of a civilization attempting to stave off extinction. Fulgrim, the Primarch, emerged as a beacon of hope amid the desolation. Within just 50 standard years of his arrival on Chemos, he ascended to a position of leadership on the planet. His dream was nothing short of ambitious. He sought to unearth and reconstruct the marvels of ages long past, a vision that was driven by his unwavering belief in the potential of humanity. However, the turning point in Fulgrim's destiny occurred with the arrival of the Emperor of Mankind on Chemos. It was at this moment that Fulgrim's aspirations transcended his homeworld, expanding to encompass the entirety of humanity. The Emperor's Children Primarch was introduced to a Space Marine legion that shared his genetic lineage, but unlike some of his brethren who encountered resplendent hosts, Fulgrim found himself leading a mere 200 battle brothers. The nascent 3rd Legion faced an early setback in the development of its gene stock, setting them far behind their fellow Space Marine legions in terms of growth and numbers. To rebuild their strength, it was imperative for Fulgrim and his transhuman warriors to integrate into the ranks of another legion temporarily. The chosen legion was the Lunar Wolves, led by Horus, a Primarch who would prove to be an ideal companion for Fulgrim in mastering the arts of warfare. Even in their formative years, the 3rd Legion was distinguished by their unrelenting pursuit of perfection in all of their endeavours. This drive caught the attention of the Emperor, who bestowed upon them the rare honour of bearing the Imperial Aquila, known as the Palatine Aquila, on their chest armour, a unique privilege during that era. The 3rd Legion embraced this honour, viewing the Emperor as the epitome of the perfection that they aspired to achieve. This commitment to excellence led to their enduring title, the Emperor's Children, a name they retained even amidst the catastrophic events of the Horus Heresy, a tragic chapter in their history that saw them fall from grace and into the clutches of chaos, forever changing their path and sealing their fate within the dark annals of Warhammer 40,000 history. The tragic tale of Fulgrim, Primarch of the Emperor's Children, is testament to the corrupting influence of chaos. Fulgrim's downfall can be traced back to his unquenchable thirst for perfection in all aspects of life. This insatiable desire drove him and his legion into the clutches of Slaanesh, the chaos god of excess and pleasure. While the exact circumstances of Fulgrim's fall remain shrouded in the annals of history, it is clear that Horus, the arch-traitor, played a pivotal role. Horus, recognizing Fulgrim's refined sensibilities and his relentless pursuit of perfection, manipulated these qualities to lead him down a perilous path. What began as a noble quest for excellence in warfare soon transformed into an increasingly disturbing obsession with experiencing sensations that transcended mortal limits. Fulgrim, gifted with the physical and intellectual prowess of a Primarch, believed that no endeavour was beyond his grasp. Having already mastered the arts of war, he ventured into more esoteric pursuits, exploring realms such as poetry and sculpture. However, these creative endeavours took on a darker tone as the corrupting influence of Slaanesh seeped into his soul. As Fulgrim's passions grew darker and his desires more extreme, he became an unwitting servant of the Prince of Chaos. At Horus's behest, he attempted to manipulate his own brother Primarch, Ferrus Manus, of the Iron Hands Legion, of convincing him of imaginary conspiracies within the nascent Imperium. This manipulation led to a bitter confrontation between these once loyal siblings, with Ferrus surviving but Fulgrim's soul plunging further into damnation. This descent into darkness ultimately led the Emperor's children to align themselves with the traitor legions during the infamous Istvan V campaign, a pivotal moment in the Horus heresy. From there, they marched towards the Siege of Terra, their loyalties irrevocably severed from the Imperium they once served. During the Siege of Terra, the Emperor's children played a role distinct from the other traitor legions. Instead of assaulting the mighty fortifications protecting the Imperial Palace alongside the likes of the World Eaters, they turned their wrath upon the surrounding city and its inhabitants. In an orgy of unfettered cruelty, they inflicted unspeakable horrors upon countless innocent souls, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The Emperor's children's fall from grace and their participation in the Siege of Terra stand as dark chapters in the grim history of Warhammer 40,000. An example of the corrupting allure of chaos and the tragic consequences of unchecked ambition. As the harrowing Siege of Terra raged on, some disturbing rumours circulated among those who witnessed the Emperor's children in action. It was whispered that amidst the unprecedented violence and chaos of the siege, the Legion had embarked on a grisly endeavour. Some suggested that they had resorted to slaying their victims in such numbers that they could collect their vital fluids, concocting an abominable distillation. This vile substance was rumoured to be a stimulant of nightmarish potency, promising access to heights of sensation previously unimaginable. The culmination of the Siege of Terra arrived with the Emperor himself confronting the arch-traitor Horus, ultimately leading to Horus's death. In the aftermath, the Emperor's children, like the other traitor legions, were driven from Terra. Their presence left behind a grim legacy of desecrated worlds and violated populations. Their actions during the siege etched into the annals of history. With Terra no longer their battleground, the Emperor's children sought refuge within the dreaded Eye of Terror, a chaotic and tumultuous realm beyond the bounds of reality. There they embarked on a new and devastating series of wars. These conflicts were not solely against the Imperium, but also against their allies among the forces of chaos. Their objective was to steal mortal slaves to serve as instruments of their perverse desires. The history of the Emperor's children in the wake of the traitor legion's defeat at the Siege of Terra remains shrouded in history. Imperial scholars, for obvious reasons, have struggled to uncover the truth. Perhaps the most enigmatic aspect revolves around the fate of the Primarch Fulgrim himself. It is as if he vanished from history entirely. Some speculate that the Prince of Chaos, Slaanesh, had already granted Fulgrim apotheosis during the tumultuous days of the Horus Heresy, elevating him to the status of a demon Primarch. Others suggest a different fate, claiming that Fulgrim has retreated to a demon world of his own creation where he still reigns. In this nightmarish realm, he oversees debased extremes of sensation and experience that defy mortal imagination. For those who revere Slaanesh, this mythical place is considered the holiest of holies, and some dedicate their entire lifetimes to obsessively questing after it, driven by a fervent desire to bask in the darkest pleasures it offers. The Emperor's children, once noble warriors, have thus descended into a realm of unspeakable depravity.